let me introduce myself. My name is Anurag Sharma. I'm a chartered accountant and I'm also an MBA finance. I felt also qualified as a DISA and along with forensic auditing and fraud detection. And let me thank CA Club India to for giving us this opportunity to share our views on this budget, especially on the direct tax proposals that has been introduced in the budget. And with me, I have CA Kanan, who needs no introduction actually, the kind of articles he writes. But he's a qualified chartered accountant and pursued his articleship from KPMG. He worked with PwC and co-founded Learn Finance, Personal Finance.in, and he's a guest speaker at ICA National Conference. So we also we we also read about him or read about his views on various aspects. So hello Karan, I would like to you to introduce yourself again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anurag bhai. I think you have spoken more more words for me than I deserve. So I am really thankful to you for that. Anyways, so hi guys. As Anurag bhai just said that I worked with PwC and KPMG. I qualified chartered accountancy exams back in May 2019, and right now what I'm doing is I'm consulting people like asset management companies like finfluencers, some of the finfluencers also on their content strategy on how to grow on written platforms like Twitter and LinkedIn, basically. So this is what I'm doing right now. And there are a few corporate clients also I have where they seek my advice around the communication strategy. So this is what I'm doing. But my major forte is around writing in the space of finance. So I do it not just for myself, but for my clients as well. So this is where my major time goes. And I'm about to join an edtech platform. It's an edtech unicorn for building the YouTube channel around personal finance education. And the news will be out very soon, I hope within this week only. So yeah, this is what I do. And thank you so much for the pleasant introduction, Anurag bhai. You can please take it forward. Over to you.
We're waiting for Garima also because she was also no, she was to join as
Yeah.
speaker too. So, but let's talk about the recent amendments that have been introduced in the budget. First of all, what is budget? Budget is introduced in the finance bill, which becomes finance act after it is passed in the both houses of the parliament. So these are just proposals that have been made. They can be amended or they might not be amended, depends upon the kind of feedback by the elected representatives. So we are assuming that all these amendments will become finance act, and we are discussing on the direct tax part of it. Like the major changes that we are, basically the biggest of all is new tax regime versus old tax regime. And then there are changes in 44 a ad ab, and there are changes in TCS, like for outsourcing part TCS has been increased to 30%. So we have Garima right now. So she also needs no introduction like Kanan. She also writes and explains the pertinent points, the uh, rating to finance, and her threads, which she shares, are very well taken or very well read by all of us, and we learn a lot from her. Over to you, Garima.
Hi, Anurag. Thank you so much for hosting us, and thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in. I hope we'll be able to, provide you guys a little more clarity on all the proposals that are discussed in the Finance Bill 2023.
So let's start discussion with old versus tax regime. Today, CA Garima shared a very important or uh, I would say very pertinent thread about that old and tech, which cleared many doubts. So I would like her to explain or take it up about talk about it in more in detail about various new provisions in or various the differences that are in there in new versus old tax regime. Over to you, Garima, for this.
Right, Anurag. So, let's just first and foremost, let's discuss the changes that are there in the new tax regime that was there already, right? So it's covered under section 115 BAC of the Income Tax Act, right? And the tax rate were a little different before this, but the rates that have been proposed now are as follows. So if your total income is up to rupees 3 lakh rupees, your tax rate will be nil, right? Then if your total income is from rupees 3 lakh to rupees 6 lakhs, the tax rate will be 5%. If it's between 6 lakh and 9 lakhs, the rate will be 10%. If the income is between 9 lakh to 12 lakh, the tax rate would be 15%. If it's between 12 lakh and 15 lakh, it will be 20%. And if it's above 15 lakh, it will be 30%, right? In the old tax regime, there are absolutely no changes. The tax slabs are the same as they were before. So it's up to if your total income is up to rupees 2,50,000, the rate is nil. If it's between 2,50,000 to 5 lakh, it's 5%. From 5 lakh to 10 lakh, it's 20%, and above 10 lakh, it's 30%. These rates are for non-senior citizens. For senior citizens, the basic exemption limit is rupees 3 lakhs, and for people above 80 years, it's 5 lakhs, right? So in the new tax regime, the basic exemption limit has been increased from 2 lakh 50,000 to rupees 3 lakhs. So this is the first major change in the new tax regime. Then the much talked about point over the past few days has been standard deduction. So standard deduction was earlier there only in the old tax regime, but now it has been included in the new tax regime as well. It's rupees 50,000. It's not rupees 52,500. There is no cap of rupees 15 lakh 50,000. That was just an example that the finance minister was quoting, right? So you do not have to worry about any limits or any in your income crossing rupees 15 lakh 50,000. It's for everybody. It's rupees 50,000 straight standard deduction of rupees 50,000, right? Then a few major changes have also been incorporated in the new tax regime. So if you are earning family pension, right? So in family pension, there is a deduction under section 57, which is lower of one third of your family pension amount or rupees 15,500 per annum. So this has been included in the new tax regime from now on, from the coming financial year. And a new section under Chapter 6A has been proposed, which is called Section 80CCH. So this is basically if any amount is being deposited by the Agniveers in the Agniveer Corpus Fund, and the government will equate that amount. So any deduction that you will be eligible for under Section 80CCH will also be provided in the new tax regime, right? And 80CCH has also been provided the EEE status, that is exempt, right? Then there is another confusion among people that if I opt for the new tax regime, will I be able to switch back? So the switching back and forth provisions are also same as they were earlier. So if you guys want to read it out, it's point 5 of the memorandum explaining the provisions of the finance bill. So if a person has income from business or profession, and who has decided to opt for the old tax regime, so they do not have that flexibility. They will not be able to do back and forth, and they will only be able to opt back in the new tax regime once. Whereas for other people, that is the people who do not have any income from business and profession, so they can choose every year. They have the option to choose between old and new, right? Then the rebate under section 87A. So in the earlier financial years, the basic exemption limit, I mean, for which you did not have to pay tax, the limit eligible for rebate was rupees 5 lakh, and if you had income lower than rupees 5 lakhs, so you were eligible for rebate under section 87A, and you practically did not have to pay any tax on that amount. And if there was any income above 5 lakh, the entire income would have been taxable. So now in the new tax regime, this basic rebate limit has been increased, and it has been set to rupees 7 lakh. So if you have any income that is up to rupees 7 lakh, you will be eligible for rebate under section 87A, right? And practically your whatever tax amount will be there, it will be eligible for a rebate, and you won't have to pay any tax on any income up to rupees 7 lakhs, right? So now people are also confused on if I should do any investments, if because many times what happens is we decide our ATC ATD and HRA calculation based on how much tax we will be able to save. So I have tried to explain this with the help of a simple example. I've shared it on my Twitter handle. So, for example, if your income is up to rupees 7 lakhs, right? If your total deductions and exemptions are above rupees 2 lakhs, you can go for the old tax regime, right? If your total deductions and exemptions are below rupees 2 lakhs, you can go for the new tax regime, right? And for 8 lakhs it's rupees 2 lakh 12,500, then for 9 lakh it's rupees 2 lakh 62,500, right? So you can I've shared it on my Twitter handle. You guys can go through it, and maybe it will help you guys understand things with a little more clarity, and maybe make the deciding factor easier for you. If I take the example of for example, your income being rupees 10 lakhs. So, for example, if a person has deductions and exemptions up to rupees 3 lakhs, right? So your tax amount will be in the old tax regime, it will be around rupees 54,600, and in the new tax regime, it will be rupees 62,400. So, with the help of this simple calculator or whatever you can call it, I've shared it on my handle, right? So you can decide on the basis of that. And yeah, so these are the like major things that will help you differentiate between, if you have to choose between the old tax and the new tax regime. And also another major point is that the new tax regime has been declared as the default tax regime. So every year you will have to share with your employer that if you want to go for the old tax regime or not.
Thank you, Garima, for this deep insight. Actually, I am a little bit confused about this point. And what I have read of it, that in if you are having business income, then it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to switch from old to new. If kindly correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. So if a person has been filing in the new tax regime, and if they are switching to the old tax regime in, for example, the current financial year or the next financial year, if they are switching to the old tax regime, so yeah, they have a once in a lifetime opportunity to switch back to new. So basically, if you have income from business and profession, you do not have the option of doing back and forth. You can only get back in the new tax regime just once. Whereas if you have income from any other sources apart from business and profession, you can do back and forth every financial year. You can choose if I want to go for old or new, depending on whatever saves you more taxes.
And on a lighter note, how much rating out of 10 will you give to this budget?
Yeah, so I would give it a 7, because they have come up with a bunch of exciting schemes as well. Like if we talk from development point of view, so if we talk about Eklavya model school program, or the focus on artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is uh, the new big thing, right? So deciding on establishing the centers of excellence, or they have a bunch of schemes as well for which are focused more on benefiting the women and the senior citizens. So if we talk about the Mahila Samman Savings Certificate, which has a deposit facility of like 2 lakhs, and then there's this interest rate of 7.5 lakhs, right? Then there's increase in the limit for senior citizen savings scheme, which is increased to rupees 30 lakhs, right? So they have definitely come up with a lot of nation developing schemes. So yeah, 7 is what I will give it.
So according to you, the budget has passed exemption limit, like 60. They have crossed the 60 passing marks too. Now
Right, right,
over to
absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
now I would like to add Kanan in it, and I would like to know his viewpoint or some more points or some pertinent points that he would like to throw light on. Over to you, Kanan.
Sure, sure. So from a personal tax perspective, I think Garima has already summed it up very well. I'd like to add a few points, like if you have to talk about the TCS provisions. So if you're planning for a foreign tour and you're buying a package, basically, then if you had to purchase it for say 10 lakhs, now you'll have to pay 2 lakhs in addition to that to your operator. Now that is not your tax liability. Please understand this thing. So what people are confusing is that अगर मैं 10 लाख रुपए, so I can speak in Hindi na, Anurag bhai?
Yeah, yeah, no issue.
Okay. So I'll just speak a few lines so that people can connect better. So लोगों को ये लग रहा है कि मैं अगर 10 लाख रुपए खर्चा करता हूँ फॉरेन ट्रैवल पे, तो 2 लाख रुपए मेरे को और ज्यादा देना पड़ेगा, या मैं यूएस इन्वेस्टिंग पे अगर 10 लाख रुपए लगाता हूँ, तो मुझे 2 लाख रुपए अपनी जेब से टैक्स और देना पड़ेगा। तो ऐसा है नहीं, अगर ऐसा होने लग गया तो आपकी कभी रिटर्न आएगी नहीं। और फॉरेन टूर पे भी मतलब ऐसा नहीं है, जैसे देयर सर्टेन एप्स जिससे आप यूएस में कर सकते हो इन्वेस्ट इन ऑल दोस थिंग्स। सो बेसिकली क्या है वो टीसीएस का क्या होता है लॉजिक, दैट यू इन्वेस्टेड, sorry, I'm really sorry, the person who is collecting money for you on your behalf, say for example if XYZ app is collecting money from you so that you can invest in the US stock market, they are the collector, right? So they have been asked by the government to collect some taxes at the time when you are investing. What happens is people invest in people basically don't declare their incomes. They do a lot of foreign travels and they buy lavish cars and all those things. In fact, a very interesting example was shared, I guess it was in the budget of 2017 or 18 by late Sri Arun Jaitley ji, who was the finance minister back then, that there are more people who uh, take foreign travels than the people who file returns. Something of that sort was there. I might be wrong, but some interesting fact was there around that, right? So that thing was there. So these like the people who sell you car, or basically these foreign tour operators, they were asked to collect taxes on behalf of the government in advance, so that these people come to the net of the government so that they can track them better. Like they are spending tens of twenties of lakhs on foreign tours, but they are not paying taxes, or they are declaring very low income in proportionate to, like for example, if you're earning 5 lakhs, of course, you can't spend 50 lakhs in buying an Audi car. No one will do that. Like, I haven't seen any person doing that at least. So, these people have been asked to collect taxes, right? So, this is the objective of the government. Now, if you are taking foreign tours or doing US fund investing, then these 2 lakhs will be collected from you in advance. Now, this is not your out of pocket expense. So, for example, if you are a salaried employee, right? And say your employer is also collecting all the not basically the employer is also deducting all the relevant taxes from you. Now you have say paid 2 lakhs extra in taxes, then the government will refund it to you while you file your ITR, and this TCS will reflect in your 26 AS form, when you can which you can check from the income tax website after you have paid this to the that particular app from which you are going to do US fund investing, or for example these foreign tools as well. And it's not just specific to US. I'm just taking US's name because that's generally where people do anywhere outside India. Right now, the other point, since I write a lot about investments and personal finance, I'd like to take this up, is the psychological aspect. So from a psychological aspect, I believe, and with the way we are moving forward as a generation, the Gen Z and the Gen X and whatever we call it, this budget, the new regime thing might be a little counterproductive for the new generation, because I see that the new generation isn't very friendly when it comes to saving or thinking about the future. And I guess it was Sushma ma'am who is there in the listener section as well. She tweeted that I know certain people who invest only the only savings that she knows about for a few friends is are the ones which have come from ATC savings, right? Like PPF is there or EPF is there, and all those things are there. So it is very important, and I've also personally seen that people break their PFs also due to some of the other reason. They are such big spendthrifts, right? So it is very important that people continue their own investments, even if, say for example, their investments, even if the new regime is beneficial for them, they should still go ahead and fill their PPF forms and do all those kind of things, so that they are basically securing the future. Now, like for this year, I will personally invest my money in PPF for like, because I'm self-employed. I wish I had the room to invest in employers provident fund, but since I'm not, then I'll invest this money in PPF, and I'll be able to only break it after say 12, 13 years, whenever my lock-in happens. So by that time, at least I'll have 20, 30 lakhs if I do that consistently, right? And even more, because this 7.1 tax free thing will keep on compounding. So regardless of anything, you should still do it. And please take this like as a brotherly advice, not as an investment advice, but please don't stop doing your investments in ATC. Otherwise it's going to be very problematic for you later on if you take the short term gain for the long term, and you will be basically taking the short term gain for the long term pain if you don't follow this. So this is one thing, and other thing that I wanted to clear is around the insurance policies. So first of all, people are thinking, and there's a very wrong misconception between them, that there are two things. So first is, if their family gets their term insurance proceeds, will it be taxable? No, that won't happen. Okay, in case I've taken endowment policies and whatever maturity proceeds my family will get, will that be taxable? No. In case of death, that won't be taxable. And it won't be taxable unless and until you're paying premiums on these policies for more than 5 lakhs taken together per annum, right? And there's another confusion, whether people will have to pay the profits on in insurance policies on which they're already paying insurance premiums. The answer is no. Any policy that is issued after 1st of April 2023 will be taxable. Not if you're paying cumulative premiums beyond 5 lakhs per annum, then only it will be taxable, otherwise it won't be. So basically, these are certain points which I wanted to cover. And there's another common confusion. So if I get three, four thumbs up in the section, the listener section, then only I'll take it, because it's a very basic thing. And I think Garima covered it as well. Some people are saying that what is the meaning of these 3 to 6 and 6 to 9 slabs when there's no tax till 7 lakhs? So are you clear with this thing, or there's still a confusion around this? If you guys can tell me. If there is, then I'll take this up.
I think you should explain it, Kanan. It will be great if you could explain it clearly.
Yeah, so like I'll just share this. So basically, see, there's a concept called rebate that is under Section 87 of the Income Tax Act, which says that if you're earning below a particular threshold, then whatever taxes you are liable to pay, we'll exempt you with that, right? So like these slab rates continue, even if you're earning 6.5 lakhs, or let's say 7 lakhs. So for the first 3 lakhs, you don't have to pay anything. For the next 3 lakhs, that is 3 to 6 lakhs, you're supposed to pay 5% in the new regime. And the tax on that is around 15,000, and for the balance 1 lakh, that is 6 to 7 lakhs. For the next slab, that is 10%. So you are supposed to pay 15 plus 10, 25,000 in cess, and plus cess, right? So what happens is, now with the introduction of this rebate in the new regime, if your income is still 7 lakhs, then your taxability is around 25,000, right? Now, for this 25,000, you will get rebate, right? Now, this taxable sum will get reduced, so that you don't have to pay any taxes. If you're earning 7 lakh 10,000 after all the standard deductions that are there, or whatever 80 CCD2 deductions that you take up, then in that case, for that balance 10,000, you have to pay not just taxes on those balance 10,000, but right from the beginning, from 3 to 6 and 6 to 7 also. And after that, for the 10,000 part as well. In that case, you are not eligible for rebate, right? So that thing is there. And another thing that I would like to take up is like one thing is that Garima covered already. Standard deduction is available in the new regime also now. And Miss Nirmala Sitaraman ji, she was explaining the 52.5 concept on 15.5 lakhs per annum people was that she was basically comparing the taxability that would have been there had they opted for new tax regime in financial year 22-23, that is the present financial year, versus the changes that have been proposed, which will come ultimately in the Finance Act. And so whatever taxability will be there, right from the 1st April 2023 till 31st March 24, the whatever taxability will be there for people who are earning more than 15.5 lakhs. So if you compare for both the years for the same person with the same income level of 15.5 lakhs or plus, then in that case, that person is going to get a benefit of 52,500 in taxation, right? So that was her meaning. It wasn't that standard deduction is only for those people who are earning 15.5 lakhs. And they're going to get 52.5K of standard deduction. So initially, I also got confused, but later on, when I read the finance bill, it got cleared. So this is not what the meaning was. And one more thing, that if your employer is contributing to NPS on your behalf, then you can claim that deduction in not only the old regime but in the new regime as well. That is to say that basically, if your employer is contributing to NPS of up to 10% of basic salary plus DNS allowance of your salary, then that is going to get deducted in the new regime as well. So this is a point that many people are not discussing about online, so I thought I'll take this up. And this is one thing. And then another thing that I would like to say, this rebate is available in the old regime as well. And this deduction is available in the old regime as well. And for central government and state government employees, this is not 10% but 14%. I think I've covered enough now. So I hand it over to you, Anurag bhai.
And Karan, how much rating will you give to this budget? Because I asked Garima and she gave 7 out of 10. And what will be your rating?
My ratings will be around 7.5 only. Like from a personal taxation perspective, we can, always expect things, but of course, government doesn't think that way, because they ultimately have to increase their sources of revenue, and taxation is a major point that they have to basically cover. And like, yeah, of course, they won't they won't allow all those things. One thing that I'm disappointed is the not repealing of the LTCG. Of course, I'm disappointed with this right from FY18 when this point was introduced. It is because you see, when LTCG was repealed back in 2004, STT, that is the securities transaction tax, was introduced. Now, what I don't understand is, when securities transaction tax was introduced in place of long-term capital gains tax, why are you taxing on both things? So this really needs to go. If you either like choose one of the things, either choose STT or LTCG. Uh, don't take money from both the sides. That's my limited expectation, because you brought in STT on the basic premise that LTCG will go away, right? So this is something that really needs to go away. But yeah, of course, we can't expect it to go. We can just hope if it happens and just make it a point in these discussions. Yeah.
Thank you, Karan, for your deep insight into it. Before I move to other speakers, or I would just like to add a few amendments that maybe we have missed, or maybe we ignored. Like uh, there is amendment of rupees. The threshold limit for deduction on winning from online gaming has been removed. Earlier, it was 10,000. And there is another amendment in 80G where Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial Fund, Indira Gandhi Memorial Fund, and Rajiv Gandhi Foundation have been excluding for the list of eligible funds for deduction under Section 80G. And then we can also talk about amendments in Section 54 and 54F, where the limit, maximum exemption limit, has been raised or has been fixed at 10 crores. And there's one major amendment that I would like to discuss, that is in section 43B, because as per the recent proposals that have been made in the budget, it has been stated that payments made to MSME will only be allowed on payment basis, or it can allowed on accrual basis only if made as per time allowed under section 15 of MSME Act. Now, what does this MSME Act says? It says that 45 days in case of written agreement, and if there is no written agreement, then 15 days. So basically, the time limit has been fixed at 45 or 15 days. This is a one major amendment that has been made in section 43B. Then there's a section amendment in section 140 194N, that for cooperative society the threshold limit for annual cash withdrawals for the purpose of TDS on cash withdrawal has been increased to 3 crores. It is for cooperative societies only. We need to uh, uh, discuss it, or we need to point it out that it is only cooperative society and not for other societies or other limits. And there are amendment in section 44 AD, the increase in threshold limit to 3 crores from 2 crores, and 44 ADA increase to 75 lakhs from 50 lakhs. So these are the other basic amendments that have been made, along with the highest surcharge rate for new tax regime, which has been decreased to 25%, which means that maximal marginal tax rate will be 39%, which we used to be earlier at 42%. So now there's a Gaurav who wants to uh, share some insights or some points on it, and I would like him to speak whatever he wants to. Over to you, Gaurav. Hello.
Gaurav, you're on mute, and I think he's connecting. In the meanwhile, I can see Garima's hand raised. Maybe Garima, you can take it up.
Yeah. Over to you, Garima.
Yeah, so since we are talking, Anurag mentioned about decrease in the I mean done away with the limit on winning from lotteries, etc. And we are talking about the new generation and the Gen Z. So I think the Gen Z is aggressively engaged in online gaming, etc. Right? So there, for you guys to be aware of, there is a new section inserted that's called Section 194BA. So whatever your net winnings are from online games, it will be subjected to TDS. So basically अब आपको उस पे भी टैक्स भरना पड़ेगा, and this will be applicable from 1st July 2023. सो अगर आप 1 जुलाई 2023 के बाद कोई भी ऑनलाइन गेमिंग से मनी इनकर कर रहे हो, अब आपको उस पर भी टैक्स पे करना पड़ेगा. सो दिस इज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट फॉर यू गाइस टू बी अवेयर ऑफ. And another point, that I would like to reiterate, like what Kanan mentioned, that please do not stop investing in the ATC and your ATD instruments. Do not do away with your ELSS or your insurances, right? Because we also come across a lot of clients who do their the financial planning or tax planning only on the basis of like the amount that they will be able to save from these investments. बट इन द ओल्डर टैक्स regime एक आप पे कंपल्जन हो जाता था, या आपको लगता था कि अच्छा मैं 1.5 लाख रुपए इन्वेस्ट करके इतने हजार रुपए बचा सकता हूँ, whereas it's not there in the new tax regime, right? So just because आपका टैक्स नहीं बचेगा या फिर आपको न्यू टैक्स regime will be more beneficial, do not stop investing in instruments like PPF or ELSS or your life insurance and health insurance. Yeah, so that is a point that I wanted to reiterate. Everybody should keep that in mind. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. This is of utmost importance. And I would again like to remind people that there are certain people whom I see, and even Sushma ma'am in the listener section shared that there are many people who only have their 80C savings as the savings when they turn 45, 50, or 60. So, like their EPF investments, or like they enhance their EPF limit purposefully so that they can, save taxes, earn 8.1%, and an amalgamation of that. Now, since if people are going to opt more towards the newer regime, then that's going to be detrimental with a psychological perspective. So keep on, doing these kind of investments. And yeah, that's my limited takeaway.
Yeah. Also, as per the new that the salary structure or pay commission that has come into force, the pensions have stopped or they are not allowing pensions. So, having investment in ATC, in a PPF or an LIC or another investment opportunities, mutual funds, it will be beneficial when we attain certain age. So I totally agree with Kanan and Garima on it. And now there's a speaker, Mr. Anup Singh, who wants to say something. Over to you, Anup, sir.
No, I have a one clarification regarding. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So regarding this direct and new tax regime, old and new tax regime, is it going to demise next year or something?
No, no, both the regimes are here to stay. And it will be just your option to choose from whatever regime you have
Yeah,
to.
like last 3 4 years it is like that. It's going to be
Yeah,
there, right?
the only difference and the confusion that is arising is from the finance minister's statement around that it will be the new tax regime will be the default tax regime. It means that if you don't declare it to your employer that you are going to opt for the old or the newer one, they'll by default calculate taxes and deduct taxes from your salary based on the new tax regime calculation one. Two, if you are not opting, basically, if you're not selecting anything while getting your filing your income tax return, then the return will get calculate taxes and get processed in that fashion only. They won't ask you for deductions and all those things because you have opted for the new one by default. Otherwise, you'll have to select before filling the form. Uh, so
Okay.
maybe Anurag Bhai and Garima can touch up upon this in a much better way because they are practicing CS, so they can take up this if anything that I missed or something like that.
I totally agree with Ganan. Yeah, actually, that's the point. There is nothing written in the finance bill that this old provision will be removed. These are not speculations that are being made that the old will be removed and it will be only new. So you need not worry about that.
Okay. And my following up question would be, I calculated. I mean, say I have never chosen in last 3 4 years since this is implemented. I mean, say the options was available. I always put that old regime itself. Uh, I guess, and from last 3 4 years of my tax submission, I found that it's always a 20 lakh bracket. I'm getting 50K advantage in the old regime itself. I guess nothing has changed. I mean, say maybe 3 4 5% here and there, but more or less it's the old regime. Will if I invest in those ATC and all the things, it would be beneficial, right?
No, no, it's not like that. So things have
Okay.
actually changed, and
Mhm.
so basically, you need to calculate it for yourself. And in fact, Garima has. So I have also pinned my thread on my wall where you can see the handwritten case studies for which person is what is beneficial. In fact, Garima has also written a thread where she has explained that if you are in this particular tax slab, then how many deductions if you're taking in the old regime, then you will be better off with the old regime itself. Otherwise, then new regime will be beneficial. So the changes that have been brought in to promote the new tax regime, and this time it actually will benefit many people. Like I have never seen takers. I don't personally know any taker of the new tax regime till now. Now with the financial year 23-24, definitely we'll see many of them opting for the new tax regime.
Oh, so this year this has been changed. I mean, so for next financial year, it might have. I have to recalculate, reassess by, this
Absolutely.
all this. Okay, okay.
Yes,
Now
absolutely.
I'll definitely go through the threads of you, Kanan and Garima. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Now, we have Mr. Mayank and CA Hitesh with us. I have requested them to join as a speaker, but also Vice was here a few minutes back. So I would like to take input from Mr. Mayank or Mr. Hitesh if they are interested in it. I have sent a request to them. Can we hear your viewpoints, Mr. Mayank and Mr. Hitesh? Okay, fine. No issues. So, are there some more questions on, or if anyone asks to ask some more questions on it about the way recent amendments that have been made? Let's carry on with Karan in that case. Let's wait for any more question and
I think Hitesh is joined as a speaker. Maybe Hitesh, if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Actually, Anurag, I'm not more into direct taxes, so I won't be the right person to comment anything. I am more into GST and indirect taxes. So maybe Mayank can add something.
We have Mr. Vikesh also on as the speaker now. So if he can unmute himself and take up some questions or points.
No, in fact,
yeah.
I'm from the seeking side. I need a little clarification on MSME, so anyone can explain me either.
Yeah, you can answer. We will try to our best of knowledge to answer it.
Yeah, in fact, as you told that the MSME, as per the MSME Act, the payment is allowed on the payment basis. I mean that this section is included under the 43B. So it means that if we pay MSME within the prescribed limit, that is then only is allowed. So is that mean that I understand that we are filing MSME return on half yearly basis. So how it will be calculated? I mean that in first half, which is comes within the financial year, and second half after the financial year. So if something is not paid within the first half yearly return and that was paid again next half year, is it allowed in that case? What is the provision in this case, if any idea?
Are you talking about the Section 43B, the amendments that have been made or proposed to be made in the Section 43B regarding
Right.
payment to MSME, if I'm not wrong?
Yes, right.
Sir, actually, the as I discussed earlier, also the amendment that have been made in Section 43B says that payment to MSME will be allowed on payment basis only, or as per MSME Act. As MSME Act says that 45 days will be allowed in case of written agreement, and if there is no written agreement, then 15 days. So this is the basic proposal that has been made. I hope I have made myself clear, or
No, that is understand the provision that is allowed payment basis. But my question about the we are filing the MSME return half yearly basis. So in that particular time, let's say within the first half year, I need to file a return on the October, and in that amount, whatever I file, some amount I not paid within that prescribed time limit of 45 days. And again, in the second return that we need to file in the next half year, and that we supposed to file within maybe the June itself, we included that unpaid amount and paid in the second return. Is that allowed? Because the finance we need to claim any amount within the financial year, not half yearly.
according to me, according to my opinion, it will be allowed, sir. But it can, my opinion can differ from the other speakers or other participants. I would like to take their point of view also. In case anyone wants to answer this or add more to it, is welcome. According to me, yes, it will be. But as I said, my point of view can differ from the, or my opinion about it can differ from the others. So So we have Mr. C.A. Ravinder, I guess, who wants to speak something.
Hey, hi, Anurag Sharma. So basically, I just want to mention that if the payment was made within the 45 days, they can claim it as the allowable expenditure. So irrespective of the return filing. Hello, am I clear?
You are audible,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you are clear.
So if the payment has been made within the 45 days as per the MSME Act, so it can be allowed. So there will be no, yes, the provisions also saying about the payment need to be made within the 45 days, so it would be allowed, right? There is no such thing as per the return it need to be claimed or something like that.
We have Mayank with us, and I will also like to take his opinion on the recent amendments or the recent proposals that have been made. Over to you, Mayank.
Hello, can I audible?
Yeah, you are. Please.
Uh, I want to talk about the uh, January amendment notification number one. The out of the it is not related to budget, but it is impacted to all saving or any FD accounts. And I personally observed that most of cooperative bank and digital banking saving accounts still not updated. They have PAN number records. Then how we as a professionals starting awareness for our clients or any Indian citizen that every saving account now it has to report it to income tax department. What is the planning for that? Some professionals highlight this point idea behind this.
Kanan, if you can answer this his query, or if you'd like to add certain points to it.
Saving bank
What?
interest and FD interest now it has to reported that from starting 1 rupees. Earlier the limit is 5,000 rupees.
I didn't get you. Can you please repeat? Actually, the voice was cracking from my end.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Please repeat it once.
The question is earlier there is a interest income on saving bank and a fixed deposit reported to income tax AIS department is minimum 5,000 rupees. But on
Okay.
the notification number 1 2023 income tax department removed that limit.
Okay.
Now every account holder report has to report it in AIS report.
Okay.
Question
Okay.
is there is a lot of bank account I personally know in the cooperative bank or any other bank. PAN number is not given and it's still operating with a huge amount.
Okay.
So how they are tracking to this reporting in AIS?
That will be a task like without having PAN and getting it reported in AI. So even if I talk about many other things like say my taxation income is like my capital gains also,
Hmm.
they weren't currently correctly reflecting in AIS despite of the fact that my demat accounts are linked with the my AIS my PAN perfectly. So but that thing aside, I think we should correctly report our income and not so that it gives us a
People
good night's
people
sleep. And
people are
yeah.
thinking
Kanan,
people
I
are
would like to
thinking
add something on here.
yes.
So basically, it is the responsibility of the taxpayer to disclose the income perfectly. So whether it is the PAN is linked to your bank account or it is not the responsibility of the income tax or some banking authority.
The
So
idea
yeah,
the,
and as per the RBI, you need to update your KYC in the for the every 3 years with the respective banks. So when you update your KYC with the banks, they will automatically pull it to the push it to the income tax department. The same will be get reflected in the AS. But if it is a minor amount, oh, it is not going to be a big task. It is. If it is a major amount, then you should be careful about it.
here the cluster. Sorry, you
Sir.
can you say that okay, there is a minor amount, there is a no problem. But
Yeah, yeah.
government thinking is and income tax department thinking is they are trying to capture each and every saving and FD account
Yes, yes. Yeah,
against
that is
any PAN or other holder.
actually fine. Actually, it is fine, my end because no, it is not possible because we will leave some accounts as like I am a resident of India. Sometimes I will become a NRI. In that
Yes.
case, I will not operate my savings bank account. It will be kept as a inoperative. So sometimes what actually bank is need to do is if the KYC is not updated for the every 3 years, they need to deactivate or put it in the inoperative method. So then they will not unless you have done some transaction or unless you update your KYC, then only they will make it as the operative. So it is your responsibility to make sure that your KYC and the details, if you are not using the bank account, you need to deactivate. It is your responsibility. So
Yes.
when it comes to the interest income disclosing, if it is below the 5,000, the department will not issue the notice for this. You need to pay some 100 rupees or 200 rupees. You have missed on that thing. Like so, that's why I just want to highlight.
Okay, okay. Thanks.
No issue.
Okay, we have CA. Sorry. We have CA Harshit Goyal with us, and I will also like to take his point of view, or if there's any queries, or if you'd like to add anything more to it. Over to you, sir.
Hello, hello,
Hello.
good evening, everyone.
Hello. Yeah, sir, you are audible. Please.
What are your views about 43B amendment? Actually, I am more concerned with section 43B amendment about MSME.
Sir, I have already shared it twice. The voice is breaking right now.
Actually,
Hello.
I have joined late. Sorry.
It's echoing actually. So if I think Harsh bhai, if you can mute yourself, I think there's something from your end. Yeah, now it
Hello.
should be fine.
Hello. Sir, I have already shared my views on it. Maybe you joined late. The point under the proposal that has been made under Section 43B is that payment to MSME will only be allowed on payment basis, or it will be allowed on accrual basis only if made as per Section 15 of MSME Act. That is 45 days in case of written agreement and 15 days if there is no written agreement. Yeah, it is somewhat different from what is there in GST. Like at times, if I'm not wrong, then it's 180 days in case of GST that we consider. So my point of view is it is maybe the government is promoting MSMEs more, or it's their way of helping out MSMEs. So these are the amendments that have been made, and also apart from it, I would like to add some more points to it. In As we had discussed about overseas tour packages also, that it is, I think the basic framework or basic mindset of the finance ministry is to propose local tourism and MSMEs. That's why the amendments have been made in 43B, and that overseas tour package TCS in case of overseas tour package. I think I have answered your query, or is it? Will you like to add
Yes,
something more?
yes. No,
Okay. Now I think we should wind up, or are there certain more queries, or should I?
Also,
Garima, yeah, yeah,
Anurag,
sure.
yeah, adding to your point, like, being practicing CAs, we can understand the pain of bad debts, right? So the amendment in 43B, I think it's a welcome step. It will facilitate timely payments. So yeah, I am totally in favor of this.
Okay, let's take one more
Yeah,
question from Abhijit. Abhijit wants to ask something, or wants to add something. Over to you, Abhijit.
Yeah, I do have a question for Garima ma'am. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, Abhijit, you are audible. Please go ahead.
I am on to ऑनलाइन गेमिंग लास्ट आईपीएल ठीक है तो मैंने वहाँ पे बेटिंग किया आप इमेजिन कीजिए मैंने 80,000 करके 4 बेटिंग किए ठीक है उसमें मैंने 3,20,000 हार गया और 80,000 जीता मतलब मैं अभी भी 2,10,000 पे मैं अभी भी लॉस पे चल रहा हूँ ठीक है तो मेरा जो विनिंग हुआ था 90,000 का उसमें मुझे क्या टैक्स देना पड़ेगा मतलब मैंने अल्टीमेटली अभी मैं लॉस पे हूँ डेड लॉस ठीक है तो मैंने सपोज मैंने 80,000 इंटू 4 बेटिंग किया मतलब 3,20,000 हुआ और मैंने विनिंग किया 90,000 तो अभी मैं डेड लॉस 2,10,000 पे हूँ ठीक है तो मुझे ये जानना था कि मतलब हर मतलब जो मैंने विनिंग किया है 90,000 उसमें मुझे क्या 40% टैक्स देना पड़ेगा
No, Abhijit, as far as I am aware, it is applicable from 1st July 2023, and it's only on your net winnings amount. So I think there will be no tax implication for you as such. So if anybody wants to add anything to it, that will be great. Yeah.
1 जुलाई 2023 मतलब उससे पहले का बेटिंग का मतलब कुछ नहीं होगा क्या? उससे पहले तो मैंने लास्ट आईपीएल मैंने बेटिंग किया था. ओके, लास्ट आईपीएल.
Yeah. I think it's from 1st July 23. I mean it will be with effect from. It's clearly mentioned in the bill that it will be with effect from 1st July 2023. So I think it will be applicable from that date onwards.
तो इससे पहले मैंने जितना बेटिंग किया उसका कुछ देना नहीं पड़ेगा. नेट नेट में मैं तो अभी नेट में प्रॉफिट में नहीं हूँ ना, मतलब मैं लॉस में ही हूँ. आई एम इन अ डेड लॉस. लेकिन मुझे मैंने जब ऐप मैंने प्रोबो करके एक ऐप होता है उसमें मैंने खेला था. ओके, तो उसमें लिखा रहता है जो एवरी 10,000 विनिंग पे 40% टैक्स लगता है.
I think Ravinder wants to answer your question. So over to you, Ravinder.
Hey, hi, Abhijit. Actually, we will disclose the winnings and something amount from the income from other sources. So basically, the income will be net off if the gains and the losses will be netted off first off. So in that case, whatever be the if there it is a loss, there will be no tax. And in case of it is a profit, then only it will be taxable. That's it.
In case I am in a profit, okay.
Yeah,
If I am in a dead loss, then there will be no tax. Okay, no.
no
No,
tax
no.
on that. No tax.
Okay. Thank you, Garima. Thank you.
No issues.
Okay. I think we have come to an end of this space. And any parting notes, Kanan or Garima, before we end it?
Yeah, maybe I can take this up. Without, like, please don't consider this as anything personal. See, I'll just introduce, like, this is slightly off the topic, but since we were discussing about investment psychology and now we were discussing about losses in betting, please understand that there are certain things that are zero sum and certain things which are not zero sum. So a zero sum game is where my loss is your gain or your loss is my gain. So here's something where we both can't earn, right? So think about investing your money or placing your money in a place where the likelihood of win-win of major parties, like like where most people can win. So invest in such places, like invest your time in improving your skills, or maybe think about long-term investing where there's a high probability where you can make money if your psychological blend is perfect, right? So have that thing in mind. uh, Zero sum games are places where there's there are two people. One is the person who earns and one is the person who loses. So there are two people on the platform. One is the one who earns and the other one who loses, but there's always one person who wins, that is the broker. So it is in the broker's interest to promote it as a game of skill and all those things, and run that agenda. And if you like it in the initial days, you'll ultimately realize later on that it wasn't in your favor. But some these things are addictive also, like gaming and all these things. So my advice is to basically stay away. So if I talk about my father, he is also chartered accountant and he's the go-to person in our family whenever any investing thing is concerned. So I know a lot of people who have taken who have who have interacted with our family about their finances and all those things. So I know this for a reason that जो जीरो सम होता है ना, उसमें किसी का पैसा नहीं बनता. तो आप जितना जल्दी अमीर बनने की कोशिश करोगे, या आप जितना मतलब, और ये सारी तो बहुत ज्यादा गैम्बलिंग वाली चीजें वैसे भी एडिक्टिव होती हैं, तो इनसे प्लीज आप दूर रहने की जितनी हो सके कोशिश करो. मतलब मैंने देखा है अपने सामने लोगों को बर्बाद होते हैं, लिटरली बर्बाद होते हैं. आई एम नॉट लाइक ओवर एम्फेसाइजिंग, एंड आई नो हमारे घर में सब में किसी ना किसी के पास ऐसा एग्जाम्पल है. मैं अकेला नहीं हूँ जो ये बोल रहा है, और मतलब बोलने के लिए बोल रहा है. सबके पास ऐसा एग्जाम्पल है जिन्होंने बेटिंग गैम्बलिंग में, या फिर मतलब कोई और जीरो सम गेम, मैं नाम नहीं लेना चाहता कुछ लोगों को ऑफेंड करके, कोई भी जो जीरो सम गेम होती है ना, वो आप उसमें मत ध्यान लगाओ. मतलब फोकस वेयर यू कैन अर्न मनी, राइट, वेयर द काउंटर पार्टी कैन ऑल्सो अर्न मनी एंड नॉट जस्ट द ब्रोकर. थैंक यू.
I totally agree, and that was some serious lessons from CA Kanan. I totally agree with him. So I think we have come to the end of this space. Garima, would you like to add something, or should I close it?
Yes, definitely. So, we were discussing earlier about the taxability of income from your insurance policies. So I would like to reiterate on that मैंने हमेशा कहा है via my tweets and whenever I am interacting with clients that हमेशा आप अपने इंश्योरेंस और इन्वेस्टमेंट को अलग रखिए, है ना? बिल्कुल भी ये सब एज ओल्ड प्रैक्टिसेस में अब पढ़ने का है नहीं। सो ये जो 5 लाख क्यूमुलेटिव प्रीमियम के ऊपर आपका टैक्सेबिलिटी लगाई गई है, and it's definitely for the benefit of people, and I think this is one point that should have been reiterated from our end. So yeah, and I think we can conclude with the spaces.
Yeah, it was a wonderful session. I hope you all enjoyed the way, or like we enjoyed it, and it was all wonderful interacting with you all. Thank you so much for the CA Club India once again for giving us this opportunity to share our viewpoints. Thank you so much.